The past is not forgotten, and it lives through these images and voices. Thanks for watching our video, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe our channel. In the dense jungles and hostile terrain of Vietnam, American soldiers found themselves fighting not just an enemy, but also the psychological weight of an unpopular war far from home. Amid this chaos, an extraordinary form of personal expression emerged: the transformation of standard-issue steel helmets into canvases of hope, fear, defiance, and humanity. These weren't mere decorations. They were lifelines to sanity in an insane situation. Every message scrawled across these helmets tells a story of survival, from the desperate countdown calendars marking days until rotation home, to religious pleas like "God walks with me," seeking divine protection in mortal danger. The helmet became the most personal piece of military equipment a soldier owned. Unlike uniforms that could be replaced or weapons that might jam, the helmet stayed with them through every firefight, every monsoon, every sleepless night in a hostile jungle. It protected not just their heads, but carried their identity in a war that often seemed to strip away individual humanity. Consider the soldier whose helmet bore the haunting words, "Hill 875, the smell of death." This wasn't adolescent bravado, it was testimony to one of the bloodiest battles of the Vietnam War, where American paratroopers fought desperately for a strategically meaningless hilltop. The graffiti serves as both memorial and trauma marker, a way to process experiences that defied normal comprehension. Some helmets became shrines to home. Photographs of girlfriends, wives, and family members were carefully tucked into helmet bands, creating portable altars to the lives soldiers hoped to return to. These images represented everything worth fighting for: love, normalcy, a future beyond the war zone. The countdown calendars reveal perhaps the most poignant aspect of helmet art. Soldiers obsessively tracked their remaining time in country, turning their helmets into elaborate calendars marked with months, weeks, and days. This wasn't just timekeeping. It was a psychological survival mechanism, a way to maintain hope when hope seemed impossible. Religious messages appeared frequently, reflecting how extreme circumstances drove many to seek spiritual protection. Crosses, biblical verses, and prayers adorned helmets, showing how faith became a shield against both physical and psychological wounds. For many young men facing mortality daily, these inscriptions represented their deepest beliefs about life, death, and meaning. The dark humor that pervaded Vietnam also found expression on helmets. Gallows humor helped soldiers process the surreal nature of their situation, fighting a guerrilla war where the enemy was often invisible, where villages might harbor friend or foe, where victory seemed as elusive as the jungle mist. Some helmet art reflected the changing nature of the conflict itself. As the war dragged on and public support eroded, graffiti became more cynical, more questioning. Soldiers began expressing doubts about their mission, their leaders, and the war's purpose. These helmets became forms for dissent in an institution that demanded conformity. The photographs of these helmets, now faded and aged, serve as historical documents of a generation's struggle with an impossible situation. They reveal how ordinary young men, many barely out of high school, found ways to maintain their humanity while participating in the dehumanizing machinery of war. Each helmet tells multiple stories: the farm boy from Iowa who counted days until he could return to harvest season, the city kid from Detroit who carried his neighborhood with him into the jungle, the college student whose deferment ended and found himself wielding an M16 instead of textbooks. Through advanced colorization technology, these vintage photographs come alive again, allowing us to see these personal expressions as vividly as the day they were written. The faded ink becomes sharp, the colors vivid, the humanity undeniable. These helmets represent more than military history. They're artifacts of human resilience. They show how individuals found ways to preserve their identity, express their fears and hopes, and maintain connections to home, even in the most alienating circumstances imaginable. Today, as we examine these intimate expressions from over 50 years ago, we're reminded that behind every uniform is a person with dreams, fears, and an innate need for self-expression. The helmet art of Vietnam stands as testament to the unbreakable human spirit and our eternal need to leave our mark, to say, I was here, I mattered, I survived.